Hello and welcome to the episode of Battle Ready.
Ready.
And today I thought we'd address something that I've seen a couple of comments on, and that is the killingness in Age of Sigmar.
Step.
And I guess also 40k, although we don't play in Combat Patrol, but not a lot of 40k. So we'll stick with AOS. In AOS is a far deadlier game than some others. And we thought we'd talk about, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because I've seen people complain. They say, oh, I don't like my models dying so fast, and I have to pick up my toys, and it's not fun to see my guys die. And I wanted to compare that to Middle-earth strategy battle game, and also to A Song of Blades and Heroes, both of which are war games, right? And Middle-earth is another Games Workshop product. Because both of those, you guys don't die as easy.
Yeah.
Do they die?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, guys can get killed, but not nearly as easy. Warhammer, Age of Sigmar anyway,
Murder.
uses a system where you roll dice, you do damage, and then you have you apply those to your hit points. And when your guys run out of hit points, they die.
Yep.
Middle-earth strategy battle game and the Song of Blades and Heroes, it's similar, where you do a duel. You do a roll to see who wins, and then whoever wins, you sort of do another roll to see if he kills the other guy. If he kills the other guy, then they're dead. But if he doesn't, they sort of separate, and they both are ready to take another action next turn. There's more to it than that, right? You can get knocked down. You can get put. This is a simplification of it. But Drake, which system do you prefer?
Oh, AOS.
Okay, why is that? But all your guys die. You have to pick up your toys. There was one time, I should tell this story. There was one time where Drake was playing Gloomspite, and he loved Gloomspite so much, and he says, Dad, you should play Gloomspite. I really want to. You'll love it. The trolls are so fun. And so finally I said, okay, I'll try it. And Drake decides to be Caradron, and he spends the whole first turn killing my biggest troll so that I don't get to play with my trolls. He spends all this time telling me how fun the trolls are to play, and then his first move in the game is to make sure I can't play with them. So AOS does have that, right? There is the chance.
I thought I could tell a story about how it was Nagash.
Yeah, there is the chance that you're going to have to pick up your toys, right? So then that would be a lot less likely to happen in like Middle-earth strategy battle game, right? Where, with the arrows, if you've got, it's different if you have like superheroes and stuff, but if you just have the normal arrow boys, the odds that they're going to kill normal orc boys,
not good.
It's pretty low, right? Can they kill them?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but pretty low. So there's definitely downsides. But what are the upsides? What do you see as the upsides? To having it be more killy,
Having it be more killy is sometimes like it can get more nail-bitey, like, I'm down to I put my guys into this big situation where they might die, but it could be really good if they live? Or do I put them into this little thing that doesn't really matter, but they'll definitely live and murder these things?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think when there's real risk involved,
it's a lot funner.
It is funner, but it also makes you treat those guys a little bit more tactically. Because if you just rush them out in the open, they're going to get smushed. Yeah, they're going to get smushed. But if you want to maneuver them around buildings, or you want to make sure you're charging the right targets, or you want to hold them back so they can countercharge something that's charged them, right? So there's a lot to it that makes it more fun. Now, you can do all those things in Middle-earth strategy battle.
Yep.
But the fact that, probably people aren't going to die, it's like, oh, well, I'll just throw him out there, and, he'll delay your advance for a couple of rounds. And I feel like you get less invested. Why else do you like it?
I like it because it seems more lore-based than Middle-earth. Because in Middle-earth, especially in the movies, guys are dying left and right. In the game, like, all around, maybe a guy dies.
I guess that's true. I think sometimes more than one guy dies around, but that's one of the things I dislike about that style of combat is it is less dramatic.
Yep.
There have been plenty of rounds of Middle-earth strategy battle game
where nothing happened,
all battle round, and I sort of feel like, well, why'd I roll all these dice then? Why do we even go through this? If nothing happened between rounds, that's pretty boring, right? It's pretty boring. Anything else?
An upside is that since the game is more killy, sort of to compensate that, you get more models. Because if it was Middle Earth sized,
if that's
but
true,
Warhammer level killy, your guys would die in like 2 seconds.
well, when we played Middle Earth, remember we played the starter set.
Fair.
That's sort of like saying playing the Dominion.
Okay.
Right, that's not a full game because the starter set, the Osgiliath, gives you about like 350 points ish, right around there. So those are about half strength armies because the small games are about 700 points, and then big games are like, I don't know, 1,000. So if we were playing a big game, we'd have about triple the models. That'd be big. That'd be big. And that was one of the things we talked about it before in our review of Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game. But that's one of the things I didn't like about it was just how everything moved separately, and it was just a lot.
Too big.
It was just too many. It was just too many models
that moved
to worry
individually.
about. Yeah, I think if we had gotten it
Thinking about that and like scaled up to like big game level, you'd have 1,000,000 goblins.
Oh yeah, you'd have 1,000,000. I think what you would have to do is really bring some powerful heroes. So you bring like Gothmog and the Witch King and something else, and that way you don't have so many just normal dudes. But you can bring a lot of normal dudes in that game. Mm-hmm. The horde style play is there.
The hobbitses.
And that's the one bad thing. If your opponent wants to play horde style, well, guess what you're playing? You're playing horde style. Because they have to move every single model individually. Unlike something like Skaven, where the units might have 60 models in them, but they're still one unit. Yeah, it's one thing he's moving up. He doesn't have to move and activate each of those individual models.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think I agree with you. I like the killiness of Age of Sigmar better. Does it have its downsides? Sure. But I think that it being dramatic, where things actually happen, where the movement actually matters, just makes the game experience a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And when you go through rounds where nothing happened, it's really sort of a bummer.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times we played. Well, I can't tell you we played 7 games. But I mean, how many moments we had in the game where there were, this group of guys and this group of guys, and maybe I had a slight advantage because I had a spear guy.
Yeah.
Or Drake had a slight advantage because he was using a hero, so he got 2 dice instead of 3.
Sometimes he surrounded me.
And then, you just happen to roll, and the guy who has the advantage loses.
Yeah.
And gets kicked back or killed. But even if they just get kicked back, it sort of feels like, okay, that happened. So it's not exciting. It's not dramatic. It's not cool. It's not neat. It doesn't tell a good story that these 2 guys fought and then sort of got tired and backed off a little bit. I mean, it's not exciting. Song of Blades and Heroes is like that as well. In fact, the first time I played, we've only played a couple of games, so we're not experts. So
I don't even remember it.
It's quite possible we got some rules wrong. But the first time I played, I read through that rule book again because I thought I was doing something wrong because nothing was dying. Like, how can this be a war game where nothing is dying? This is ridiculous. I'm doing something wrong.
Were you doing it right?
I was doing it right. At least that part of the game I was doing right. Right? And I went online, I asked some people, and they're like, oh, no, this is how you play, and it's good because blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't good because it wasn't fun. I think that's basically what it comes down to. The killiness is fun. Mm-hmm. Could it be made better? Like all things, I'm sure there's ways to make it even better. Yeah. But doing nothing when you fight is not fun. When I'm playing a miniatures game and I want to see my guys punching your guys and your guys stomping on my guys, I want there to be consequences.
Yes.
I want a story to emerge about how I triumphed, or how the Carnosaur killer, the one Glaive Wraith, finished off the Carnosaur.
At 1 health.
Those stories are great. But if the story was, oh yeah, we rolled and had like 3 combats and we kept bouncing off each other and then I got you.
That's awful.
It's awful.
Yeah,
It's
but the
awful.
Carnosaur killer is better.
And the other thing that I like about the killiness is that when you are into combat, you have a general idea of what the effect's going to be. You know if you're likely to, how many of your guys you're likely to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Dice can spike. You might lose more than you thought. You might lose less than you thought. But you have sort of the general idea. But when it comes to like Middle-earth strategy battle game, I get to roll 2 dice and you get to roll 1. And whoever rolls highest wins. So I have a slight advantage there, but I could easily roll 3, 4, and you roll 5.
Yeah.
And then I lose, even though I had the 2 dice. And then there's a 1 in 6 or 2 in 6 chance that you get the kill, but you have to overcome that first hurdle. So it's a little bit harder to math out in your brain. And because it's rarer, when one of your guys dies,
You're like, yeah.
well, when one of your own people die,
You're like, no.
it's a much bigger blow.
Yeah.
Right? In Warhammer, when my guys die, I'm like, well, that's what they're there for.
Yep.
They're there to die. Let's go. And it's not so big a deal.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a game where killing is hard, if you happen to just
get the kill,
randomly get killed 2-3 times in a row, and that disparity starts to get created.
Yeah, especially with Broken Force.
Yeah, it's really. Oh yeah, Broken Force is a whole other thing, but it's really hard to come back.
Oh
right?
yeah.
It's sort of a rich get richer situation where if you win at the early bit, you get a massive advantage. The tide turns in the early game, but you still have to play the rest of the game. Right? It's like you're 3 turns in and you're like, I'm probably going to lose now, and I still have to play 7 more turns. Whereas in Warhammer,
you're like,
you might get an early loss, lose when you didn't think so.
Yeah. But
it's just as possible that you're going to come back and get them in one big, you only have to spike maybe 1 time in 1 battle and do really well. So I think that there's much more back and forth in a killier game than when it's, when one person's just allowed to sort of snowball, boom, smash it.
Yeah.
So overall, for those of you who think that the killiness is better, well, we agree. If, however, you're on the other side, and I think there's, these games are out there, people like them, so there must be people on the other side. If you're on the other side and you like games where there's a little bit less deadliness, maybe not no deadliness, right? We all want to kill our friends.
Yep,
right?
that's the best.
But if you want a little bit less deadliness, definitely drop it in the comments. Let us know. I'd be really interested to learn, why that is, what you like about it, and maybe if I can get the right perspective, maybe we'll try one of those games again and with the right mentality, and it'll seem more enjoyable. But as of right now, I want things to die when I kill them.
Yeah.
I want things to. I mean, even what is it? Warcry is good about that. People have a little bit more health, so sometimes it takes some more chops to kill them. But it's like if I get in there, there's not even a saving throw, right? If I roll hits, you're taking damage, and that's just that. So I like that. Just get in there, do your damage, kill some guys, and make it happen.
Mm-hmm. I swear about a no bad on both sides thing.
What?
Your centerpiece models die. Like in Warhammer, if your centerpiece model dies easy, like you lose your Nagash easy, or you lose your Dankhold Trog boss easy, it's like, no, because that's a major blow to your army. But on the same side, on Middle Earth, remember when I shot your troll with my arrow guy, and then Faramir ran into combat. I beat you, and then I just chopped your head clean off with a 666.
Yep.
That can happen. That could also happen where it's just okay.
Yep. I wonder I'd have to crunch the numbers
on what the odds are of that happening.
The odds are. I would guess
like
that the Middle Earth strategy battle it's less likely to happen. But I feel like in AOS, like Nagash, just as an example, he's got a lot of health, so that makes it less likely. He's got a good save, so that makes it less likely. He's got a ward, so that makes it less likely. I feel like they put in a lot of layers, and not only that, but because you get to roll for a save and you get to roll for a ward, even though it's all just dice, it sort of makes you feel like you've got an opportunity to defend, right? You feel like, this is my chance to not take damage, even though the dice, you don't have any real control, right? But I think there's that psychological element. Whereas in that particular scenario, Middle Earth strategy battle games, I rolled 3 dice and you rolled 2 or 3, 2. You happen to get the high roll, and then you happen to double six it,
and then that was the game.
That's the game. It's like, oh, so you had a 1 after winning the duel. You had a 1 in 36 chance,
and then I just happened to have it happen.
And it happened to happen, and I didn't. There was no ward. There's no save roll.
Just cut your head
There's
off.
no. It's just like boop. There, it happened.
Yeah, and I needed, and I on top of that, I had to get the 6 for that archer.
Yep. So it didn't feel as good, right?
Yeah.
So I think that having things be more killy, but also allowing the player to feel more in control of their defense, is probably good, because you being able to just run in and roll some dice and win didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. And I know when you won, you actually were a little sad.
I was a little
disappointed. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I win.
Okay.
So
I thought Faramir. At first, I thought Faramir was going to lose and get stomped in the head. And then I'm like, oh, I won. I didn't want to win that early.
Not that early. Not like that. So yeah, you wanted a dramatic win at the end.
Yeah,
right?
and then the other game we played, I was the mortar troll, and we spent like 30 rounds.
Oh gosh.
And then I finally killed Faramir.
It took forever. But anyway, as I noted before, definitely let us know in the comments what you think. I would love to hear anyone who likes the slow burns, the slow kills, and what you like about it. Any final thoughts?
I think we covered it all.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Battle Ready. Thanks so much for watching.